2, 1. We are officially live.
Hey guys.
What is up, YouTube crew? I'm going to pull up our chat.
Okay.
It has been... Did we go live last week? I don't remember if we went
I don't know. I was asking my VIP group. I was like, gosh, I haven't seen you guys in forever. And then I realized it was just last week.
It's been crazy.
A minute to think about the week. So.
Here we go. Gonna get you guys set up in the chat so we can see you. Get some questions. All right. Officially welcome in. If this is your first time tuning into the channel, we are a husband and wife duo that said, screw you to the man. We quit our jobs and now we do reselling and side hustles full time. So multiple side hustles makes up our main hustle.
Yep.
So we hop on here every Tuesday night. It's Tuesday, right? Yeah.
Today is Tuesday.
It's been a long week already.
Yeah.
We hop on here every Tuesday night live and do just super casual, no structure, no topic to bring to the table. We kind of just go with the flow based on what you guys have for questions. So just open Q&A session every Tuesday night. So welcome into everybody that is tuning in.
Yep.
Wow, chat's already blowing up.
Whoa. There's so many people in here. All
right. So drop a comment below. Let us know where you are watching from. And also if the audio and video is okay. We finally, for anyone following our journey for the last 4 weeks, we're in a new office space here. We have not had Wi-Fi. So we've had to work off of our phone hotspot, which is not the best. And we've had to do all of our video streaming stuff from our house, which is not the greatest internet. So we do have a better speed internet here now. So hopefully the video quality is going to be okay for you. So yeah, let's grabbing some Oreos and I'm not sharing. Martin. That's awesome. All right, sweet. So
all the people are here.
Open Q&A sesh starts now. Go.
Gretchen said that there's someone from Australia here in the chat.
Oh, that's amazing.
Welcome.
We got Texas, Bay Area, got Florida, got Houston. We always see a lot of Texas, Florida. What do you think like is the other top state that we always see?
Wisconsin.
We do get a lot of Wisconsin.
Yeah. And New York. There's a lot of resellers in New York. Don't you think?
Should we mention January?
Well, you kind of did.
It's happening.
Yeah, we are going to be in Washington, D.C. for a family thing in January. The second week of January. So
second week of January, we have done a lot of meetups. Anytime that we travel, whether it's for personal vacation or business related to conferences, we always host dinner meetups, which is amazing because we love to connect with you guys as the community. And we usually have 20, 30-ish people show up, which is awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great time. You get to network with your own people in your area. Plus, we get to meet up with you guys and get a chit chat, more behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
So second week of January, we have never been to the Northeast. Like we
really haven't.
We've never been to the whole Washington, D.C. or New York area. And that probably has been the #1 requested area that we host a meetup in. So it will be in Washington, D.C. second week of January. We don't know an exact date yet, but it's second week of January. So we will definitely be doing some type of dinner meetup. We'll have to find I think it might be more than 30 people. So we're going to have to find a pretty good venue. So if you know of a good venue that can hold about 50 people and serve food and drinks, then please let us know. That would be great.
Yeah. Oh, I should be more specific. So we'll be staying in Alexandria, Pennsylvania.
I don't know.
No,
the locations
Virginia.
over there.
What was I saying? Virginia. But anyway, we're going to be in that area. We'll figure it out.
Yep. So DC meetup is happening second week of January. I would love to get into New York and do one there too. I just want to visit New York. I'm super excited. Jason, thank you for the super chat. Said, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Wow. That was good.
I got that one down.
I'm not going to try it.
Try it. I'm super curious right now. I've never heard you actually try that one.
No.
Please.
No.
She's not going to do it. She's not going to do it. All right. As you guys can see, we keep this super laid back. We're not We're not professionals. We don't have any fancy editing on this video. This is just super laid back for you guys.
I know, Omar, that's what I'm thinking. I hope that the winter is mild, at least until after we leave. We'll see.
All right, so we got a question.
We have a question? What?
We have a Q.
Q.
Let's give an A.
Okay.
I have recently started full-time selling on eBay and Amazon here in Australia. Congrats.
Woo.
Full-time is definitely a beast. eBay seems to be getting some good traffic. However, Amazon is very picky here, and a lot of categories need approval. And then the follow-up to that was, it really seems harder than the USA, where a lot of categories are automatically open. I would sell FBA and direct, but I'm worried that the shipping might be too high. Any ideas or tips would be great. So one thing I can tell you is we have not sold in the Australia market, but what I can tell you is the brand gatings, the category gatings, that's not just because Australia is new into the Amazon world as far as the selling aspect goes. It all comes down to the seller and the length of their account and their metrics. So here in the US, if I signed up for a new Amazon account today, I would be restricted in all those different categories that you probably are running into. So the thing that you're seeing with people getting auto approved typically comes from after a certain amount of months. I've seen people as early as about 3 months in, and as long as they're having some volume in sales and positive metrics, I've seen people get auto approved in different product brands that way. But it just depends on you as a seller. So it's not so much your location. It's going to be more based on you as a seller and your account. So if it's a new account, just got to be patient, give it time, just sell what you can, and keep trying to get auto approved when you can. Give it some time. Like I said, a minimum of 3 months, preferably probably closer to like the 6 to 9 month mark is where you'll start getting more auto approvals. But to get around that, all you need to do is find some distributors for those brands that you want and order a minimum of 10 units and use that invoice to send to Amazon to get approved. It can be a very simple process to get approved in a brand. The hard part is you got to hunt down a distributor, which just Google whatever. Like if you're trying to get ungated in Mattel, for example, you type in Mattel distributors. You contact one of those distributors, open a wholesale account, place your order for 10 units, take that invoice and submit it under that brand approval. And that's how you get ungated. But as far as auto approvals go, it's just patience. So I tell people, if you are you're not getting approved in any other categories, sell in where you can and just try to do volume in those areas until your metrics get pretty solid and it shows a history of sales. And then you can start to get auto approved in different ones as well. Jason with another $2 super chat for you.
Now I have to try it.
Hold on, let me scroll back up.
I think I can remember it.
Okay, here you go.
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could? But see, that's why I tried not to do it. Almost. Sorry, you wasted $2.
You got your try for it. That was so worth $2.
It wasn't worth $2.
It was worth it.
I'm sure Jason's pretty upset that he spent $2 on that.
Alfred
and I was going to add on to that that we have a friend in Australia who is, I don't think he's on the Amazon market, but he sells a service that helps people with online arbitrage. And he had mentioned like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, how Amazon is starting to pick up in Australia, and they've started having like more reseller summits or like meetups or conferences and those kinds of things. So I would say get involved in groups and, check into those. If they're kind of new and up and coming, they might even be free or pretty close to free, and check those out too.
I also saw your other comment here. Can't even sell DVDs that are brand new or any brands. Tried to list some HP Inc. and only HP and licensed distributors can list. So with that being said, that's not just an Australia thing. That's here in the US too. The bigger the brand, the harder it's going to be to get approved. So brands like Nike, HP recently just got strict. So HP just did like what we consider a hard gate or a hard restriction. So HP and licensed distributors are the only ones that could sell their stuff on Amazon right now. DVD is going to be the toughest category ever to get approved in. They gated that years ago before we even started, I think.
Yeah.
We started 2.5 years ago, but
we've never sold a DVD.
Yeah, we've never sold DVDs on Amazon. So it was one of the highest counterfeit products on Amazon. So they did a hard gate on that one early on. So that type of category is going to be super tough to get approved in. People do it. If you find a legit distributor for it, you can get in there. And I think it's for an above $25 sell price in the DVD category if you get approved in that.
Yeah.
Sweet. Alfred will show us around New York.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, it's AJ. Alfred on here. Threw me off because I saw Andre and I'm like, wait, Andre and AJ are in the same. Okay,
that makes more sense.
All right, so we got to hook up there. Emmanuel asks, Chaz, how do you ship tape decks, CD players, receivers, and stuff like that? What is the best way? I'm starting to get into those items. I do them just like I do any other electronic. I have the same process. The only difference is it's bigger and takes more supplies. Bubble wrap, especially make sure the corners are going to be well padded. And then I go over that with stretch wrap to make it look like that super crisp and clean look. I put my thank you card underneath, or not underneath, but after I'm done doing that, I'll put my thank you card right on top and then do a stretch wrap over it. So it's kind of like see-through into my thank you card. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I just find a semi-decent box that will fit it. And sometimes I have to cut and mummy box a little bit so I can fold the edges in and make it a super tight fit. So there's not going to be any movement in there. And I put some, you guys can see it right here. So this is a roll of blank newspaper, basically. Craft paper, constructor's paper. There's all kinds of different terms out there for it. So I put that on the bottom, a pretty good padding on the bottom, just in case somebody drops it, which I've seen my own. I've seen my own USPS guy drop my packages right in front of me on the ground. He picks them up like nothing. I'm like, that was $300 worth of packages. But that's why I package my stuff really well. I probably go overboard. I'm super OCD with that kind of stuff. I probably go way overboard or way more overboard than I even need to. But because I've seen it firsthand with my own eyes right in front of me, my own product be dropped from like 4 feet up, I make sure my stuff is well packaged. It's not going to get damaged. And that's it. I think
you're supposed to be able to pass what's the foot?
3 foot drop test.
3 foot drop test. Yeah.
So basically, if your product is going to be held at like basically waist height, and you drop it, it should survive. That's kind of true now that I've seen it. I never believed it, but now that I've seen, like, okay, they actually like throw them around.
We were prepping some Amazon products that were glass, and I had to drop one just to see like if it would work. It worked. I didn't like
yours.
it.
I thought you were talking about the one I did.
No.
Remember when I did that? I had 3 glass bottles sold in a 3-pack, and I packaged them what I thought was good. Packaged them together so they were super tight, bubble wrap, stretch wrap.
And
I stood there and I'm like, hey, watch this. It's supposed to pass the drop test. The second I dropped it and we heard it crack, I'm like,
that didn't work.
I got to put another layer of stuff in there.
That didn't pass.
I should have put that on video. That would have been funny. Yeah, so I keep my stuff super easy, guys. A lot of people, here's the thing with like Amazon, eBay, a lot of people think ahead of time of what they think the process is like, and it gets them so overwhelmed that they never even start.
Yeah.
Like a lot of this is so simple. It's consistency is the hard part. But the steps are pretty simple. So bubble wrap, stretch wrap over that, and then find a decent sized box for it. We're fortunate. We've got, I'll show you guys this. Pile. We've got that to work with. So we're good on boxes. That's all online arbitrage orders. Huge benefit of online arbitrage, by the way, is you get tons of packing materials, boxes, air bubbles, that kind of stuff. So I've got tons of great size boxes that fit VCRs and that kind of stuff. But I package them pretty much all the same way. I just make sure they're well bubble wrapped. I actually need to upgrade. You guys can see we have our bubble wrap right here. It's the standard little I think it's 3/16 little tiny bubbles. Especially doing the heavier stuff like receivers I'm getting into, VHS players. I always call them VHS players, VCRs.
Same thing.
It's all technical terminology crap. I really need to upgrade and get the thick 1/2-inch bubbles. So that's what I'm going to start doing moving forward once that's out. Hard part is we've got 4 rolls of that to use up. So I got to use that first.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
Any tips for avoiding Vero claims? And if you don't know what a Vero claim is, that's on eBay. And it's basically a trademark name or terms.
Mhm.
So if you use something like common one is Velcro and
Velcro.
Kleenex.
Mhm.
So if you use the term Velcro or Kleenex in your eBay listings, your title description, they can shut you down pretty quick for that.
Yeah.
They won't terminate your account right away. You won't get suspended right out of the gate. At least that I've heard. I've not heard of anyone getting suspended first time
either.
They'll definitely send you a warning email though, and not to use that.
Mm-hmm. I had a brand that I had picked up at a thrift store, and I didn't know that it was like, for lack of a better term, like restricted on eBay. And so
Put you in a shot. There.
Well,
now you're even. Now you're even.
Showing people our RA stuff, man.
There's Funkos over there.
All right. So you totally made me lose track of what I was saying.
Sorry.
Oh, so this brand, they like eBay took down my listing and told me not to put it up. It was a swimsuit brand called Triangle. And oh, that's what it was. You can't, weird, but you can't use, I was listing a bikini and the top was like a triangle style top. And not even the Triangle brand, but they like told me, no way, get out of here. I would just say go through the Vero list. Just read through it really quickly. If you have questions, I think I definitely made the Velcro mistake at least once when I was starting out. So don't do that one. There's a couple. It depends on what you're listing also and what your niche is. And, you know, if you're relisting a lot of the same items or a lot of the same like items, then just be familiar with what you're listing and then maybe just go through the Vero list and make sure.
Got OSS Empire in the house. You guys are not following Sam. You need to. He's my electronics idol. Dude is a beast. He's got like 7 cell phones, 7 different accounts that he runs. He's a beast.
It's amazing. I don't know how he keeps track of all
Every time
things.
I'd
message. How do you charge all those things?
I messaged him yesterday. I think it was yesterday or this morning. Mm-hmm. I messaged Sam because I was watching his Instagram. And this dude sells like $400, $500 items all the time from his electronics account. And you guys need to understand that's not like a daily thing that's going to happen in the electronics world. Like those are sweet sales, but that's not the bread and butter items.
Yeah.
But every time I see him post, I always message him like, okay, I'm booking a flight out to ATL. So when you do an Atlanta meetup,
coming for you.
I will be coming out there.
AJ had a question.
Where's AJ's question?
You passed it. Right under.
Oh, there it is. If we do miss your question, guys, you can always just repost those. The chat, YouTube's got a lot of upgrading they need to do as far as like the live streaming capabilities and the chat and all that kind of stuff. Give us this little tiny chat bar. Question, what should I do if I have a listing that becomes obsolete and there's a new listing for the same item? What you can do is email or open up a case with Amazon and give them the current ASIN that it's basically suppressed or whatever happened to the listing. Maybe it was deleted. Give them the current ASIN. And as long as it's like a single unit going and the new listing is also a single unit, then you can give them the new ASIN and ask them to move it to that ASIN. I've had that happen several times, but you cannot, for example, ask them to take, like if the new listing is a 3-pack and you have your current listing under a 1-pack, you can't ask them, hey, can you take 3 of these and convert them into a 3-pack? They won't do that. But if it's just a straight transfer, 1 unit to 1 unit, 2-pack to 2-pack, etc., you can open up a case and request that. Just give them the current ASIN and let them know whatever the trouble is that you're running into, and then give them the new ASIN, ask them to transfer that. We actually ran into this issue, but we couldn't transfer because of that situation. I had a 1-pack, I had 72 units, and the listing just went to crap. So many new sellers came on there, and somebody created a 3-pack listing that's doing really well. So I couldn't transfer my units over and create 3-packs. So I had to withdraw them. They're here at the office now, so I had to recall them here. I have to 3-pack them in poly bags and send them back in. Pain in the butt, but it's one workaround.
Boo.
Very boo. All right, so we did Vero claims. I have a high dollar item, which is a headset that is discontinued, not listed on Amazon or eBay. Which platform should I list on? I would, because it's a headset, I would go with eBay is going to be a lot easier. Creating an Amazon listing and driving traffic to it is going to be a little bit more difficult than using eBay. So I would just list that on eBay.
And if it's discontinued, you should get the same price that you would on Amazon, on eBay. People who are looking for that item might be looking for that very specific model, and they can't find it on Amazon. They'll go to eBay or, you know, put it in Google.
If you can't find any comps to go by on eBay or Amazon, I oftentimes will just Google it, and then sometimes it will show you old history of the item itself and what people have maybe paid in the past. So it gives you an eyeball for how much to price it at.
Keep spreading love.
I love it. Oh, nice. Couple of thrifters got auto approved for HP.
Nice.
Yes, reselling with Rob, another electronics guy. I feel like we're creating like this little electronics circle. Shout out to Rob, by the way. I did a 3-hour. Did anyone watch this, by the way? Like, can I just say that blew my mind that people stuck around for 3 hours? Rob was one of them. Stuck around for all 3 hours, gave out awesome advice, awesome tips. He's been doing electronics for many, many years, reselling for many, many years. So wealth of knowledge. Give him a follow. But he said, go to eBay, Seller Central, and look up Verified Rights Owner Program. Vero, get it? Has a huge list of people with their rules. Is Amazon arbitrage on Amazon still, or Amazon arbitrage? I can read. Is retail arbitrage on Amazon still safe? Yes. Quick spill down on Q4 stressing and sourcing with TA and RA and having the feeling not finding. Quick spill down on Q4 stressing and sourcing with TA and RA and having the feeling not finding. You got so it's kind of like two different topics, right? We got tactical arbitrage, which is TA, and then we got retail arbitrage, which is RA. With RA, you've got to just go out and do more sourcing. That's part of the ballgame. Retail arbitrage, it's one of my favorite methods, but it's also the most time consuming, and it can be one of the most disappointing sometimes because you can spend 8 hours driving around, going in different stores, and come out with absolutely nothing. That's happened many, many times. That's the kind of stuff that nobody sees behind the scenes, by the way, that makes or breaks your success, because you can come up here and watch YouTube videos of people like crushing it, and then you can watch Instagram accounts crushing it. But what you don't see is all the failures that really built up their foundation to get to where they got. So you really need to just get out there and put in more foot time.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to with retail arbitrage. Tactical arbitrage, on the other hand, a lot of it's going to be dealing with your filters and knowing how to read Keepa. And going into Q4, there's stuff that it's just too soon to tell. Like toys, we don't know exactly what the hot toys of the year are going to be. So a lot of it's going to be trial and error. Pick up a few things that you think might do well, send them into Amazon, or if you're listing on eBay, list them on eBay, and just use trial and error, right? You got to test out 5 units, see how they sell. Some of them may not move at all, so you're going to know not to buy those. But then other ones you might sell all 5, and then you think, okay, that's cool. I'll buy 5 more or 10 more. Send them in. If those sell, okay, cool. This is going to be a good one. I'm going to go 20 deep now, and that's how you kind of start to baby step your way into it.
Also, though, keep in mind for Q4, the rank threshold that you would normally stick to doesn't apply necessarily, especially with toys.
Yep.
So something, in a category where you wouldn't go over 100,000, some people are buying 200,000 and 300,000 and selling out because it's Q4 and people are buying everything all the time for all of Q4.
Every day.
Every day. So, don't get too wrapped up on the ranking system.
What's up, James? Yes. How do you balance risk? This is an awesome topic, by the way. How do you balance risk with cash flow versus credit card balances versus additional loans? This is like a whole behind the scenes that a lot of people don't talk about is funding. Okay. Because there are different things like PayPal capital loans. You've got things like Cabbage, which is they can supply you with funding for your Amazon account. There's all these different lending services out there. Basically, you got all different kinds of credit cards, and then you got your cash flow that you have to have from that. Especially if you're doing this full time, you have to know, okay, how much do I need to pull out for my utilities? I need to pay warehouse rent. I need to pay this and that. And then how much do I inject back into my business? I mean, I can go on for an hour about this whole topic, but how do we personally balance it? You've got to make sure you're able to pay off to the best of your ability those balances by the end of the month if you can. That's dealing with credit cards because, you know, for example, for people like us, we had crappy I'm talking like we let our credit tank because we both had personal debts that we just did the same thing. We ignored the phone calls from the collectors for years and it ruined our credit. So when we got into Amazon and eBay, we didn't have access to credit cards. We had 2 credit cards, which had like $300 limits on them. Like that was it. That's just real talk. So we didn't come into this having a bunch of capital, having access to capital. So we had to start on a budget. We started with $500 for our whole business and we just snowballed that the best that we could. So in the beginning, don't do what I did, which is she didn't play a role in this, but because I'm like the financial one in the household, I would take these cards and I would go max them out because I was buying inventory. I would sell the inventory, reinvest that money, but I was not putting that money back towards the cards as much as I should have. I was paying my minimum balances and doing that, but you need to make sure that whatever you are spending, whether it's a loan, loans, I'll talk about loans second, but credit cards, whatever you're spending on your credit card for the month, you need to make sure by the end of the month, so you don't get smacked with that interest, especially if you're in the position we were in, we couldn't touch a credit card that was less than like 25% as far as interest goes, APR. Which sucks. So I definitely would not want to be spending more than I knew I can pay back at the end of the month because I didn't want to get hit with that extra interest at the end of the month. So the credit cards are like a different ball game. You've got to make sure your cash flow is going to be positive enough to where you can pay them all off and you have a smooth system. You've got to be responsible with them. And that's based on personal experience. I'm not up here like preaching to people because I know it all. That's just a struggle we had to go through and learn firsthand how deep you can get into those. But now we've been creeping our way out of it. I'm going to do a whole breakdown video about our whole credit situation and why we weren't able to scale our business as much as we wanted to throughout the last year. Short story, we are now almost 100 points up on our credit score because we've been taking profits from our business for the last like 8 months and just injecting it into our personal debts that we had, and our credit score just went poof. So now we're going to be able to get access to better loans, better funding for our business, better mileage cards, all that fun stuff that comes with that. But you've got to be so responsible with it. If you know you are not going to be able to handle the credit cards and like the spending versus how much you're paying back, don't even bother with it. Just keep using cash for your business. Credit cards are a different scenario. Some people love them. Some people hate them. I'm not here to debate which one's which or which side of the fence that is right or wrong. That's on you to determine for yourself. And then when you get to loans, obviously, if you take out like a $10,000 loan for your business, you can't pay that back in a month. Well, unless you're doing big numbers. But for us average people, right? You take out 10 grand, you need to really have access to good inventory. And you need to be able to forecast how fast that's going to sell through, because you don't want to take out a $10,000 loan because you think you can spend it all. And then you might end up spending it on stuff that's slow moving and it takes you a year to sell through that stuff. You got to have your numbers in check before you try to really take on, whether it's outside investors or some type of funding or lending for your business. It really just comes down to being responsible and knowing your numbers. You should be able to almost like write out a business plan and project what your business is going to do month after month. If you can't determine those numbers and forecast that way, funding and lending and investors is not going to be the right ballgame for you. That's just based on personal opinion, personal experience. I am not the best I'm not the best person to give out pieces of advice on this, nor am I an expert, but that's just based on my personal opinion, personal experience. So take it with a grain of salt and as you will. Oh, we got another super chat. Which one was that?
I don't know.
What's up, Sandra?
Sandra.
Thank you so much.
When doing arbitrage, do you list as new on Amazon? I've been listing collectible like new and nothing is moving on those items.
So it depends on the product, if it's like toys or general categories like that, I do list as new. If they are electronics, this is a very gray area and it's controversial. I'll just tell you what I do. You don't have to agree. I will only list up to like new. So that's used like new under electronics for one reason. Not because the product isn't new, but because when you purchase from Walmart, if I buy a router from Walmart and I list it on Amazon, the second that I purchase that router, that warranty is no longer going to be valid through me as a third-party seller to the next customer. So because I cannot guarantee that warranty, I will not put myself and my account at risk of getting some type of complaint from Amazon on that. Now, plenty of people go out there and sell new electronics all day long. That's great. Again, this is my personal experience, personal opinion. That's just how I do it. I will say if you're going to be listing something like a toy under the collectible category, you have to really watch out because the exact definition from Amazon under the collectible category is it has to be a rare or hard to find item. So if you're listing a general retail arbitrage toy, if you're taking like a fingerling and listing it under collectible like new, that's not technically a collectible. So that could be an issue. And that, again, that's just my personal experience. So take it with a grain of salt.
Wow, it keeps going down. Something about a Walkman question, and I missed it.
Right there.
Okay, there we go. If I'm ungated for used Sony on Amazon, do you sell used Walkmans on Amazon or eBay?
Whichever one is going to sell for more profit, and then you also have to look at velocity. So it's always about speed versus potential profit. So if I look up that Walkman on Amazon and I see that I can make a $20 profit and it's going to be fast, like within a couple weeks, awesome. I'm probably going to go with that versus eBay, which might be like a $30 profit, but it's going to take more like 6 weeks. So it's a it's a situation by situation thing where I weigh out what I'm going to do with that. Obviously, me running this like 10K challenge that I'm doing, all my electronics go to eBay no matter what. But after I'm done with that, I am going to weigh out which one's going to be the best route for me to go. So I'm looking at which one's going to drive more profit or which one's going to sell faster. If it gets to be like a rare type of item, like a factory sealed Sony Walkman or some situation like that, that's worth hundreds of dollars, it's whichever one is going to drive most profit. I don't care how long I have to wait. That's just kind of the name of the game for that.
Yep. This is a good question. Joshua, I'm having trouble finding products with good ROI for retail arbitrage. I've scavenged my clearance section at my local Walmart and nothing. Do I just keep pushing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Next question.
It's not all going to be in the clearance aisle. It's all over the store. You might have to get out of Walmart. You might need to find something more specific to your region, or there's 100 things that could be going on. But if you're not finding it in the clearance aisle, just keep going. And here's the thing. When you do find that thing, no one else will have found it because it's not in the clearance aisle. It's hard to find. And so it will be a better deal for you in the long run. It will have more profit because not a lot of people are selling it, hopefully.
So I've got 3 things when it comes to retail arbitrage. Here's how you crush the retail arbitrage game. Number 1, hands down, the best method to crushing with retail arbitrage. I need to do like a whole breakdown video of this. How to crush with retail arbitrage. Number 1 and most important, build relationships with the employees and the managers because they will give you a call, or I'm not going to say this is going to come quick or easy. It's going to take many, many months to get to this point, but you can get to a point with a manager that they will call you or text you before they put the clearance stickers on the item. Yeah. So we've got a couple managers that do that with us, but it took many months and consistency and relationship building to get to that point. It did not happen overnight, did not happen quick. It wasn't like I walked in, scanned a few things and said, hey, you, come here. I sell on Amazon and I want to make a profit from your products. Can you call me before you put those stickers on? Okay. when it comes to building relationships with Walmart managers, and we've had many comments come through, so I can tell you that we have Walmart and Target and Kohl managers that watch our show, and they have all left comments and agreed to this statement. It is not about you being the only one benefiting.
Yeah.
Managers have quotas themselves. They need to clear out stuff and a certain amount of, they get a budget every single month of how much money they need to spend on liquidating clearance items.
Mm-hmm.
So if they take a $10 toy and they put a $5 sticker on it as clearance, they spent $5. Does that make sense? Now, if they had 10 of those units and they knocked all $10 price tags down to $5, they now spent $50. Okay. So some of these managers get a couple $1,000s per month to spend just to liquidate inventory. So when you come along, you can help them by hitting their quotas too. And that's where you build a mutually beneficial relationship as far as retail arbitrage. Yeah. So it's not about you being the one making the profit, because I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. And I went wrong in the beginning. Is I would go into Walmarts and Targets like everyone else, and I would like hide my phone when I was scanning, looking both ways. God forbid I saw an employee come by and would go, I was just looking at this dish soap here.
Right here.
I need this.
I need 10 of these.
I used to do it just like everyone else. But it's like you need to stop treating it like you're going to be stealing the stuff. Okay? You're not the only one benefiting. You're helping them out too. So here's how I approach it. This is going to take time until this conversation happens. So please understand that part. Yep. Time until this conversation happens.
Oh,
what's up, dude?
You want a bar?
You want to say hi, YouTube? Oh, okay. He's busy watching.
He's watching Toy Story. This is real. We have our kid here.
This is real life here. Unedited, unfiltered.
Yeah. We're actually going to go home in a minute.
Okay.
Here you go.
So when this conversation happens, here's how it goes down. They're going to ask you more about what you're doing. They're not dumb, guys. They know you're going to resell this stuff. Stop treating it like they have no idea. They know what you're doing, okay? They watch videos on YouTube just like you guys are. They know what's happening.
I use a toothbrush every day, so I need a new one every day.
I need all 50 of these.
I need all 50 of these toothbrushes.
So here's the conversation that needs to happen. Here's how I phrase it. I'm not saying this is the best way or the right way. It's just the way I do it, and it works for me. You need to understand that to your own abilities too, because I'm always hesitant to give this line out because I don't want you to feel like a script is going to help you win that relationship. It's not. It's really not. I can use this line because it's how I naturally speak to people. Okay. It's how I build relationships. If it is coming out of your mouth and it's inauthentic, it's not going to work. I can promise you that right now. So be authentic with how you naturally communicate to people. But when they ask me what I do, I don't say I sell on Amazon. Okay. I don't say I'm taking your product off the shelf and I'm making the profit. It's not about me.
Right.
Okay. I say we run an online retail business and we help retailers and managers like yourself clear your product because I know you have quotas to hit. I know that you have new product coming in, especially right now. You can use the term for Q4. I know that you have product coming in for Q4 and I'm here to help stores liquidate their excess inventory. So you now took it off of you making the profit to helping them. The more that you can help them understand you are there to serve them, that's a win-win game right there. So that's my first tip, is build that relationship with the managers and the employees, because I can promise you can get to that point with time and consistency and being authentic, okay, not trying to be shady or hiding anything. And this won't work with everyone, okay? Some managers do not like resellers. I have plenty of Walmart managers that love me, and I have other ones that hate my guts. That's just part of the ballgame. But in general, that's how I communicate what we do and how we're able to help them. Number two is you've got to get out of the clearance aisles. Okay, I'm not saying there's not money to be made there. There is, but it's a very competitive, saturated market. When you get out of the aisles of clearance, people are always like, well, what do I scan then? Here's my challenge. Pick one department. So I don't care if it's home, kitchen, grocery, toys. Pick one department and do not leave that store until you scan every single item on the shelf. If you take on that challenge and do that with every department in every store that you go to, I can promise you, you will find stuff to sell that not many people are doing. Number three is you've got to stay consistent. because if you only go out when you feel like it or you have time, you're not going to win this ball game. You've got to set it into your schedule to go out and source on a consistent basis. I'm not talking once a week or twice a week. Like if you want to scale, you can build a hobby business once a week. That's easy. But if you want to build a business, you need to be out 3, 4, 5, 6 days a week. That's how you go from like hobby business to scaling to a full-time income. If you treat it like a hobby, it's going to pay like a hobby. Some of you are treating it like a hobby and you're complaining about not getting paid like a business. If you want to get paid like a business, you got to do what the business people do and treat it like a business. Okay. If you want to make 100 grand, if you want to make that 6 figures, you got to put in 6-figure work. Some of you guys are saying you want 6-figure businesses and you're putting in 5-figure work. That's not how it works. Your actions got to match whatever goals that you're saying you want to hit. Those are my 3 things with retail arbitrage. I'm done.
Ouch.
Next question.
I think you hurt my feelings.
Some people can't take it. I hope you guys understand, by the way.
Sorry, that was mean.
I do. You know, you're sweet. I'm not. I've gotten a lot of people that have messaged me over the last like 2.5 years that we've been doing this. And they always say like, Chaz, how come you like
are so mean?
You're so mean sometimes. I've gotten these messages a lot. Like, Chaz, I used to like you so much. And now you're just kind of mean when you talk. And here's what I realized. Like I was being inauthentic for a long time, even on these YouTube videos. Like sometimes you can hear the tone of my voice, like how I used to speak versus now, because now I have no filters. I'm raw and authentic with like who I am. And I preach my message. Okay. And I understand that not everyone loves the little bit more harsh truth. And that's okay. I'm not here to baby and sugarcoat. I'm here to help build people and to be better people, which build better businesses. Okay. That's what I'm about. That's what I'm going to preach about. That's what I'm going to teach. I live that every day. Trista can tell you, like anyone who knows me personally, like I don't put on this front for YouTube. I don't put on the front for Instagram. I like,
nope.
What you see is what you get with me. Like,
this is really him.
It's
really me too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know.
We should answer more questions.
We should answer more questions. I just want to put that out there. I just want to put that out there.
Chatty. So somebody posted, I'm currently so overwhelmed by FBA. I'm scared to start. Just send in one box. Just do one. And you're going to find out that sending in that one box was super easy and you don't know why you were so freaked out. Just send in, put it on, who are you? Mama B. Put it on your calendar. I'm going to get this box shipped out by Friday or by Monday of next week or whatever, and just do whatever it takes to actually get that done. Stay up late, wake up early, do whatever you have to do. Get one thing into Amazon or one box into Amazon, and it's like ripping off the Band-Aid. Suddenly it's like, oh, okay, I can do this. This was not as hard as I thought. You can do it.
You can do it. I want to start selling. What do you think is the best way to start? Also, if you can go back when you started and change something, what would it be? I feel like that's a 2-parter. You go first.
There's so many mistakes we made.
I want to start selling. What do you think is the best way to start selling? And if you can go back, what would you change?
Without giving you all the answers.
Because we hold back so many secrets.
We're not actually going to give you any answers here. I would maybe have changed my criteria for ROI a little bit when I started. You know, there's a certain, here's the thing though, there's a certain amount of time when you are first starting out that you're just going to make some mistakes. And those are good things to do because you learn from them and you're better and your business is better for them. So I'm sorry, that's what everybody's going to say, but those mistakes are important. So you just got to make them. I feel like one of my big mistakes starting out was that I was okay with buying something for, you know, $1 and making, you know, a 30, 40, 50% profit on that. You know, like that's a bad example because $1 is ridiculous. But anyway,
I used to do it too. I used to buy stuff for like 80 cents. I'm like, I'm going to make a 2,000% ROI. And it's like, dude, you're making $2.
I mean, it depends on your business model, what platform you're selling on, and
not my blenders. No,
those fell down. So be really clear when you're starting out what you want your business model to be.
I love these glasses.
And have some standards and stick to them. Stick to your guns a little bit. So I guess a better example would be like, don't buy something for $10 and then only sell it for 12 or 13 or 14 or, you know, whatever your standard is. Make sure you stick to it, and that you are definitely going to be making money after the sale, after the fees, and that it's worth your time. What was the second part of the question?
If you can go back, what would you change?
I mean, that's the thing I would change, though. So
yeah, it can be the same. I can't fix my glasses. And don't break your glasses.
And then sell things that I mean, if you're going to do eBay is quite a bit more tedious than Amazon. So if you're going to do eBay, like what you're selling. So it would not make sense for me to sell
electronics.
Yeah, I was going to say vintage radios.
We have polar opposite eBay businesses.
I am not going to sit and clean vintage radios for the rest of my life. I just can't.
And I love it.
He thinks it's therapeutic and he loves it so much. So
I'll be here till midnight sometimes just cleaning. I love it.
I have to wonder what you're doing. But really, like what you sell if you're going to sell on Amazon, on eBay. I'm sorry, I can't talk tonight.
It's been a long day.
I don't know.
We put in the grind.
We did. If you're going to sell on Amazon, it doesn't matter. It all gets a sticker, all gets a label, gets put in a box, goes to Amazon. People buy it. Doesn't matter so much. Yep. But do be clear about your ROI and yeah, I think that's what I got. That's what I got. I have to go.
Are you going to take the little one home?
It's 8 o'clock. It's almost his bedtime.
He is getting antsy.
He has had a busy day. We have the best kid.
We do.
Pretty much
we
ever.
From getting switching over parent mode.
Yeah.
We from early stages wanted him to
be versatile.
To be, what's the word? Independent.
Mm-hmm.
Like we wanted him to be independent.
Yeah.
He
really is.
And he entertains himself miraculously lately. It's awesome.
He's just a good boy.
He is.
And he's super sweet, and we like our kid. Sorry.
We're those parents right now. It's like our kid's the
Everyone's
best.
like, okay, move on. We know you like your kid. But he really is such a trooper. He'll hang here at the office with us all day long sometimes. And he's just
Gotta go potty.
He's a good boy.
We gotta go
potty. As long as we supply adequate snacks, he's a happy camper. He'll go for a while. So we have a good kid. I'm gonna maybe scroll through some of these. Let's see. Hello from Vegas. Do you do free returns on everything on eBay? Hi, Omar. That was from Omar. Yes. So I switched everything over to free returns when eBay kind of rolled that out. I have to tell you, I'm not a super fan. I did see my returns go up quite a bit. I've gone back and forth with taking that off completely. But I've left it up because my returns have slowed down. And so that's good. If I see it start to impact my business again, like it did with, I think my worst week, I think I had 5 returns. It was awful. So if that keeps happening, then I probably will turn them off. But eBay had changed right at that moment. They had changed the criteria for top seller. and to qualify for top seller, then you had to have free shipping and free returns. So do what makes sense for your business too. I'm shipping really light items. Where'd Charles go? I'm shipping really light items. So if I had to pay for a $4 to $7 return, shipping return, it's weird.
That's probably the creepiest thing I've ever done.
It wasn't going to break my business to spend that $4 to $7. If you're shipping super heavy items, it will break your business.
Hi. All right, back in frame. What were we talking about?
Returns, my favorite.
Yay. Doing the electronics. I do free returns on everything except for heavier items. And I will do returns on VCRs if it's a high ticket item. If it's like a $60 VCR, there's just not enough wiggle room in that margin for me to really want to do the return. Yeah. So I usually tell them to keep it. I'll do the refund. All right. Gotta put the sword on the dude.
Bad dude.
He's a bad dude.
No, put it on this.
This is a fun question. Newbie watching with my wife. What's a typical week look like for you two? Are certain days better for sourcing? How many hours a week do you both put into the business? So our weeks are pretty, up until a couple of months ago, they were very regimented. We're getting back there. We just had like the craziest 2 months of our lives.
Yeah, there was a good 8 weeks of like, there was no such thing as a schedule.
Yeah.
And every day was completely different because we had a lot of stuff happen at the same time, both on business levels, project levels, and personal life.
Yeah.
We had a lot of stuff happening at once. It was chaos for like 8 weeks, but that's just part of the game.
Part of it, like I think people expect that no matter what, you're going to keep going. And sometimes that's the beauty of this business, is that if a personal thing happens, you can slow down for a minute and deal with that. And you don't have to ask for time off. You don't have to put in PTO or beg your boss or anything like that. So, that's one of the reasons we decided to do this in the first place. Mm-hmm. So, but typically, yes, our week is super regimented. I have specific days and even times that I go sourcing. Titus just started preschool, so that gives me an extra 3 hours a few days a week. And then we have babysitters through the week on certain days that are just, it's a fixture in my schedule that it's just there. Mm-hmm. And then we were really good at date night. We're not so good at it right now.
We are back on schedule, so we need to put that back on the books.
So we were pretty good at like date night versus work time. And so we're getting back to normal. I would say that I have no idea how much time we put into our business every week.
I have no idea. Because there's like, here's the thing when you're self-employed, and only people who are full-time will really understand this, because that's a common question. Is like, how many hours do you put in a week? Well, I can count how many hours I'm physically here at the office.
Yeah.
But that doesn't include the hours at home that I'm like mentally prepping and preparing, and like it's something your brain never honestly turns off.
Yeah.
From this.
I would say that physically we're here 8 hours a day. And then like Charles said, like sometimes I go home and list while I'm like laying in bed.
Yeah. And then there's like other times where like, I don't know about you, but like for me, I've gotten into a really good flow of just really listening to what I need mentally and physically. Mm-hmm. So there's some days that I don't even roll into the office until like 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
But I'll be here until 9 or 10 p.m. And then other times I might get here at 9 a.m. and I leave at 2 because I did like the bulk of my work. The important stuff got done. Mm-hmm. And I need some time off, whether I need extra time for my boy, date nights for us, like different things come up that I'm really trying to get better. Just self-awareness is the term. Gary Vee talks about this all the time, and I couldn't agree enough. It is true. That is the ball game. The more self-aware you are and what your needs are, what your business needs, what your family needs, self-awareness is how you win. So I feel like I've been in a really good swing and Trista's seen the difference too. Like,
Yeah.
I've gotten in a way better swing of work-life balance, if you will. Cause I used to just like, work was my game. Like we hit a point where it's like, we were really distant from each other. I was distant from my own son. Cause it's just, I'd physically be here at the office and then I'd go home and I'd be hammering away at my computer or on my phone doing social media. Cause I was trying to take everything on and make everyone happy. And then when I finally just cut the BS on that and started really just focusing on, okay, my family comes first now. First and foremost, like that's non-negotiable. I had a giveaway to do in our VIP group earlier at noon, and my mom called at 11:58, and I got on the phone with her, of course, and I messaged the whole group, and I said, "Hey, I'm on the call with my mom. She gets her time, and then I'll be in here." So like family's first, and then my important tasks that move my business forward, not the stuff I'm being busy with, but the stuff that really moves it forward and grows it. That gets my attention first. And then, you know, I squeeze in like my gym time every morning. I'm trying to get back into like personal development reading, waking up earlier. So it's just, it's a balance that needs to happen, but it's a hard balance to achieve unless you're self-aware.
I would say though, just going back, like, especially if you're brand new and you're kind of getting your feet wet, figuring out what you want to do, what business model and how much time you want to put into this, just starting out, I think I did less than 20 hours a week starting. And yeah, I would say definitely less than 20 hours. I had, when I had started eBay, I was very fortunate that our Amazon business was growing enough that I was able to quit my job. And with the work that he was doing on the side and Amazon, I felt comfortable quitting my job. So I had that time to put to eBay, and I probably started at 15 or so hours at the beginning, and it just kept growing.
And that's including like your sourcing time, your drive time, your listing, your photos, the whole thing. Yeah. It's almost like the electronics account that I'm running for this 10K challenge. I did an update post last night on Instagram. I'm going to do a follow-up video tomorrow on this channel. But I started with $100 and only selling used electronics that I've sourced locally. I haven't ordered anything online or pallets or anything. Only sourcing electronics locally, flipping on eBay, not Amazon, eBay alone. We turned $100 into 3K profit so far. And the goal is to hit 10K profit on that account. And I really sat down. I looked at the hours I put into it, the pickups, the listing, the cleaning, the testing, all that stuff that goes into it. I've been averaging like 5 to 7 hours a week on that account to drive that 3K profit in about 8 weeks. I haven't gone for speed. I could have done that in like 3 weeks. If I really like dedicated 20 or 30 hours a week to it, I could have done that in 3 weeks probably. Yeah. But just kind of hobby style, just doing that on the side, we're able to generate three grand profit. So that gives you an idea that, you know, if you're doing this as a side hustle and you dedicate, you know, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a week, non-negotiable to your business, you can get to a really good spot as a hobby. And then when you go full time, like you've got to put in 30, 40, 50 hour weeks to build it. And then when you start outsourcing and scaling, then you can automate some things. Then you're working like 20 to 30 hours a week, something like that. Yeah. But for us, we're just at the beginning. We feel at like scale phase. Yeah. We built a really good foundation for ourselves, but now we're really at that scale phase where we can start putting more money back into the business, start hiring out and outsourcing and building like core teams around each of our projects, our businesses. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Yeah. And I would say, if you're new and you haven't found like that niche yet, really focus on items that are going to be a higher return than certain others, you know? And don't be afraid to make the mistakes because they're just going to happen anyway, by the way. Yeah. I wish that we could just like give away all the secrets so that no one would make mistakes and everyone would be profitable and like successful right away. And not that you won't be, you could totally make a profit and be successful, but you're still going to make those mistakes. They're just going to happen. Yeah. It's like, here's the thing. Like that's how you build experience. You don't, you know, you look at a fighter that goes into a ring, they don't build experience by what they read or watched or by their wins. They're getting better and having better experience by the times that they get knocked down and get back up. Because that's the thing. If you don't get knocked on your butt every now and then, you're not going to, one, be humble right? Being humble is that's one thing I got out of being knocked on my butt, was never forgetting where we came from. And even the process that we're going through now. So being humble is a big part of it, but the bigger part is experience comes from getting knocked on your butt and then learning how to get back up. That's the biggest part.
Holy chat, you guys. I can't even keep up.
We've still got 130 people here.
Stay.
So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. I know you've got to go.
Yep.
I'm game to hang out for longer. So drop a comment below. Let me know yes or no.
We aren't even close to getting through that comment thread.
I know.
So, good night, you guys. I wish I could stay, but the little one needs to go to bed. And so I'll probably jump in the chat once he's off to bed.
Cool.
Bye.
Hey, little man, you want to say bye?
Bye.
Come here. You got to tell him. Come here. He said he already told you guys bye from his chair.
Hey.
All right. I get to take center stage. Weird. I don't have my partner in crime with me now. All right. So let me know in the chat. You guys want to hang out for a little bit longer? I don't mind. All right, cool. They're saying yes. So I'll chill out with you guys. That's the thing. Like, I love doing these little like casual hangouts. So I'm more than happy to chill with you guys. Okay. Let me get back to the chat where I think we were. 10K loan, 5K on inventory, 5K on vacation. Bad idea. That's a very bad idea. That's the tricky and bad part about taking out a loan, because you might feel like you just made $10,000, and unless you're spending all 10K on inventory, it's going to be tough to really scale with that money, because you got to pay it back, right? Plus interest. Is a reseller certificate a must? It depends on your business model and your state. So here in Oregon, for example, we don't have sales tax, so we don't have a reseller certificate. But if you're in another state, you need to go to your .gov website and look that up. Because if you go into like the wholesale world, then yeah, they're going to want to see a reseller certificate. Plus, if you're doing retail arbitrage, some stores like Walmart, for example, will give you a tax exempt if you have that. We're actually south of Portland, Oregon, but yeah, we're in the general. I'm in Portland a couple times a week. The whole like Portland, Salem stretch, Beaverton, Hillsboro, that whole stretch is where we are. Yeah, hit that like button. If you guys do love the content on here and you love what we are doing in this community, it does help us out a ton if you smash that like button, and gets our content out to more eyeballs. Is there a maximum amount you would pay for brand shoes? It just depends on the profit. I would pay $100 on a pair of shoes if it can make me $100, or if it can make me $80. And that's net profit, by the way. That's not like, 100 to 80 type of thing. But after fees and shipping, I would spend $100 to make an $80 profit. I would spend $500 on a pair of shoes if they were going to net me $500. So it's all that scaling tier. There's not a maximum I wouldn't go to. It just depends on the potential profit. And of course, looking at the data, like I'm not just going to blindly pay up. The more expensive an item is that I'm buying, the more data I've got to have to back it up that I'm actually going to be getting a sale. All right, let me see. Off the top of your head, you have your own random box, 8x8x8 at 2 pounds. What shipping method? I've been staring at the shipping screen on eBay for about 50 minutes trying to understand. My first question is, what did you list it under? Because if you listed the item that it was going to be shipped as first class, like it's got to go out first class or priority, so it gets there within that time frame. You can't list something as being shipped out on the listing as like 2 to 3 day priority and then ship it FedEx Smart Post. It's just you're not gonna hit your deadline on that. But 8x8x8, pretty good size box, 2 pounds. Priority is probably what I would go with on that. If you can get 2 pounds or below, that's like a sweet spot. Like 1 to 2 pounds is a sweet spot in the priority world. There's also a screen on the eBay account, which I'm assuming I'm assuming that's what you're talking about is eBay. There's a spot where you click on change dimensions and you input all those dimensions and it will show you all the various USPS shipping methods. And then you can do the same thing on the FedEx side and click through and see different ones. But like I said, if you listed it as USPS priority shipping, ship it out priority. Heck yeah, absolutely no problem asking for a manager and asking for a better price on clearance items, especially if you're going to be buying a decent size. Like if you're just buying one clearance item, probably not going to get much of a discount if you ask a manager. But if you call a manager over and say, hey, I run an online retail business and I help managers like you clear your excess inventory. I see that you've got this shelf, or I see that you've got these items here. If you're willing to negotiate with pricing, I'm able to clear these out for you and help you out that way. There's different terminology, different phrases you can use, but it's like a general outline. You can tweak it however you'd like. Do you have a rough estimate of time it takes to turn over an item? I know this is broad and varies across platforms. I heard you say fast 2 weeks versus say 6 weeks. It depends on the category. Like my electronics, for example, I'm having fairly quick sell-through rate and I'm not listing consistently yet. I've only dedicated like 5 to 7 hours a week on that account. I know I can be doing way better if I list consistently. But some of this stuff, if I list 10 items in one night, I'm typically seeing about 5 to 6 of those selling within the next 3 to 4 days. So those have been pretty quick, but I'm also cherry picking my sourcing, because what I mean by that is instead of just buying stuff for the sake of selling it high, buy low, sell high, even if I get a really good deal on an item, I'm looking at the sold comps. So I'm only buying stuff that I see is selling multiple times a month. Does that make sense? So I know my stuff is going to sell. I know it's not going to take more than 30 days because I'm looking at that history. The data is right there. Now, if I see something is only sold twice in the last 90 days, then I'm probably going to be looking at sitting on it for, 4 to 6 weeks, somewhere in that range. But if I see something is selling a couple times a month, I'm probably only going to hold on to it for less than 2 weeks. So I'm buying stuff that's in demand. Now, when we get into Amazon world, I'm definitely sticking with ranks. I'm looking at Keepa. Going into Q4, I'm not looking at ranks as much because I've sold stuff that is ranked 800,000 in toys, and I've sold that in less than 2 weeks once it gets to Amazon. Because Q4 and ranks, it's a different beast. It's a different ball game. So really, the ranks are not going to be super, super important. Some people are going to ream me and say, Chaz, that's not true. Ranks are everything. Like, cool. Work the game the way you want to work it. This is going into my third one, and I run it the way that I know how to run it. So it's just my personal thing. But all in all, I'm happy if stuff sells within 30 days. The higher the profit, the longer I'll wait. I've got a couple items that are worth, I've got this projector I paid $350 for. I've got it listed for, I think, $1,300. So that's a pretty sweet flip. I don't know the math off the top of my head, but I'm probably going to make at least a $500 or $600 net profit. So I'm okay with sitting on that for a month, 2 months, 3 months. But other stuff that's going to be like a $20, $30, $40 profit, I want that in 30 days. So that's why I'm trying to cherry pick some of my stuff. All right, it's called being honest and straightforward. Do you guys enjoy when I just like do the unedited, raw, just speaking my truth stuff? Because that's kind of the route I'm like taking myself. I've learned that I don't enjoy putting on like the inauthentic version of me to create the best content. Like, I'm just going to hop up here, create content that I think is going to help people that you guys want to see, and stuff that speaks my truth. Like, there's a couple things I'm very, very stern on with myself and with how I teach other people. And that's just, like taking care of yourself is something I'm very passionate about. Like, I don't believe anyone can truly scale a business to its full potential if this is holding you back. So I'm all about strong mind, strong body. You've got to take care of yourself first. That's something I'm very, very passionate about. I talk about that all the time on like my Instagram stories and stuff. So that's something, for example, like I'm not going to sugarcoat. I'm going to tell it like it is. I'm not perfect with it, but it's something I'm always working on. and I'm always improving. I'm always getting better, getting stronger. It's not a coincidence that when I take care of myself physically and mentally, that my business does better. I'm able to communicate better. I have more energy through the day. I'm able to give more back to you guys. It's when I feel my best, I give my best. And that's something I'm going to promote that till the day I die. So I don't like sugarcoating stuff anymore. And I know that I've driven away a lot of people, but I've learned that that's okay. Not everyone is meant to be viewers of the channel. Not everyone is meant to work in a relationship with myself and Trista and our VIP group and that kind of stuff. I don't want to work with tire kickers. That's what I came to the conclusion with. I don't want to work with tire kickers. I want to work with people that are going to listen to a piece of advice, get inspired, and they're going to take action with it. That's who I want to work with. That's who I speak to when I'm on this channel now. I don't speak to the tire kickers. I speak to the people who are actively wanting to do something bigger and better with their life. That's my tribe. That's who I love. That's my community. So that's why I've kind of let the walls down. Some of you have noticed it recently. I've just kind of let my walls down. I've gotten a lot more vulnerable and sharing, like even just talking about like our credit score situation. Like I never would have talked about that before. It's just, I know that the more transparent, the more raw and authentic I am, the more I am true to myself with how I speak to people, with how I speak to you guys, our community, the more true and authentic I am to myself, the deeper connection we're going to have in this little cool community that we're building in YouTube world. It's freaking amazing. That's why I love getting up here and just talking to you guys, because I love just being raw with people. That's the kind of content that inspires me the most. And that's why I decided, you know what, I'm going to let my walls down. I'm just going to get vulnerable and just preach my truth. I know not everyone's going to love it, and that's okay. I've learned that I can't make everyone happy, so I just gave up. It was exhausting, guys. If you're in that mentality I was in, like if you live to make everyone around you happy and you just hate when somebody doesn't agree with you or somebody has something to say about you, it's so freaking exhausting. I lived that for so many years. And I just got tired of it, especially in YouTube world. We just get honest here. Like there's a lot of freaking trolls. Okay. I get negative comments. I get comments all the time about different stuff, whether it's like my personal appearance. Like, yeah, I've got some jagged teeth. I've got some like features I'm not super impressed with myself, but it's like or like the business side, you get trolls that come in here and like they start to eat at your brain. It's like, oh, I don't want people to let that go, man. It's so much more freeing on this side of the fence of just not giving a damn. It feels really good, and I'm able to speak my truth. My tribe is building, and like our people are connecting, and I don't know. I'm in a really good place mentally, and a lot of that came from not trying to make everyone happy anymore, speaking my truth, being authentic with who I am, and that's around everyone. Like I told Trista earlier, the way that I am like right here, this is how I am around my family. This is how I am around my friends. It's how I am around when we do meetups. Like I've had so many people in person that actually meet me and they're like, oh, you're just the same as you are in video. It's like, well, yeah, it's kind of the point. I don't believe in being inauthentic anymore. It's just not my ball game I want to play. All right, back to questions. That's my little ramble. All right, there's a lot of questions in here, guys. I'm going to do my best to hammer through these. We'll probably go for about 15 more minutes. And I'm sorry if I don't get to them all. Rob said, one thing I learned early in my eBay career is putting stuff in your store that either costs a lot, unique, or a combo of the two piques people's interest and draws them in. Yes. I have definitely learned that. There's a lot of stuff I've learned just from running an electronics only eBay account. There's a certain crowd that's drawn to it. And it like the first week or two really shocked me when some of these things sold. I had no idea. I thought they would be sitting for months because most people pass up on this stuff at garage sales, like vintage receivers and stereos and boom boxes, Walkman. Like it's just old stuff to a lot of people. But when you know there's a certain market that's really hunting out this stuff, whether it's businesses that resell them in a brick and mortar, like tech stores, we get a lot of like tech businesses that buy out some of our stuff. HP toner, not just HP, but any type of toner and ink. There's surplus ink and toner businesses that buy up this stuff from us. Or as collectors. That's the other half. There's a lot of collectors out there looking for the vintage stuff. And it definitely brings like a peaked interest with that market. Is Q4 also good on eBay for toys? Yes. eBay and Amazon, toys in general. I mean, I know people during Q4 that don't sell online and they just hustle toys locally on Facebook Marketplace and they make a killing doing it. All right, you guys are liking the unedited stuff. I will keep doing that then. We're still going to do edited videos like tutorials and stuff just so they're not so long, because some people just they won't ever watch an hour and a half long video, and that's fine. So I'm still going to make tutorials. I'm probably just not going to be like, oh my gosh, hey, I'm Chaz, I'm going to show you all the thing. Like, that's just not who I am. Sorry. All right, sorry if I'm slow on the response. I'm trying to find questions in here. Do you ever return items to the store if the price tanks and you will take a loss? Here's another controversial / gray subject. I personally, I know plenty of people that do, and there's nothing against them. I personally will not return stuff to the store if the price tanks, because that to me is one of my learning experiences that I need to go through. Okay. It's weird because I feel like I need to be able to take that little bit of a pain and learn a little bit better next time. Okay. So I'll sell them at a break even or just a slight loss or something like that, but I will not return items because that was on me. That wasn't the store's fault. I don't want the store to have to take that return. Again, that's a controversial. Some people are going to say, oh, it's not an issue, blah, blah, blah. The store makes plenty of money. That's great. If you do it, run your business the way you want to run it. But for me, I need to take that hit and I need to take that loss so I can learn and become better for the next purchase that I make. Right? I've done this on many items. There's been items where I'll purchase 20 or 30 and 10 of them would sell and then I'll be stuck with another 20 and I could send them back to the store and return them if it's still within like that 14 or 30 day, whatever the policy is, return as far as the days. I could return them, but it's kind of like my easy way out. I'd rather take it as a personal hit, feel a little bit of pain for a minute, and then learn next time I do it. Whether I need to research a little bit better, look at Keepa, make a smarter business decision. That's just kind of my thing. Again, anything that comes out of my mouth on this channel or Instagram or social media at all, it's never the best or the right way. It's just my way. It's the way I personally do things. So that can turn people off or it can inspire them. It can go either way. Why am I so mean? Have I ever hit the Sellwood Goodwill? I have not been to Sellwood for that Goodwill yet. I have not. I do apologize. I usually never check my phone when I am on live, but I had a text come in that I need to check real quick. All right. Thank you, Josh. Said, thanks for everything. You're a great guy. Helped me a lot. Did you join any of the groups that share products for Q4? Last year, yes, I did. I'm going to do like a little mini announcement for a Q4 group. Two things. One, I have a personal group, our VIP group, which many of you know about by now. P.S. I will be closing down the group to new members. It's going to be closed for a while. So if you want to get in, now is the time to do it. You just go to sidehustleprosvip.com. You can get enrolled, $20 a month. It's a private community. We don't allow more than 250 members in there. So I am going to be sharing Q4 bolos as far as the hot toys that some of us are doing test buys right now. So we're going to be sharing with you guys all the hot toys that we find, different little leads that come in every single week. So that's kind of like our Q4 group is the VIP group. I just mix it in there so there's no extra cost. And there is a dedicated Q4 group coming out. I'm going to be doing a little partnership with. So I'll be doing an announcement on that probably next week. I'll keep you guys posted on that. That's like buying a chainsaw to cut down a tree, then return it and say it stopped working. Not a bad idea. That's hilarious. Eric said, newbie inspired by your videos. Thank you so much. As far as your first buy to the day it's sold and how long did it take? What were your emotions during that time? As far as your first buy to the day it's sold, how long did it take? Okay, gotcha. So my first sale I ever made in the resale world. Quick backstory. I was never like entrepreneur at heart. Like you hear some of these stories, like, you know, Gary Vee was hustling baseball cards out of middle school. Like I never even knew what the word entrepreneur was. I never had that spirit in me until I started doing my own massage therapy business. And then there was just like all kinds of sparks came off. Once I had that switch, I'm never going back. But before then, I would buy and sell iPhones on Craigslist. Facebook Marketplace wasn't around. OfferUp wasn't around. It was just Craigslist. And so every year when I would wait for the new iPhone to come out, I would buy up some of the older ones because people got rid of them for so cheap. I would buy them for like $150, $200. And then I would resell them back onto Craigslist for like $75 more. And so that was like my first little hustle I did. But as far as the online world, when I started my Amazon account, the first sale I ever made, I bought these Avengers. You can't find them anymore, so good luck. Because I know some people are going to go try to find them now. I found these specific Avengers puzzles at the Dollar Tree. They cost $1 to buy, and it was a $7.49 sale. Now, keep in mind, this was almost 3 years ago. This was 2.5 years ago. This December will mark 3 years since I started. And I sent in that first box. I still have like the picture of that, the first couple, I think it was two or three small boxes I sent in, and they were test buys. I bought up some of these puzzles and some other stuff at Dollar Tree, sent them in, and the puzzle, I sent it in, let me see if I can remember this. November 17th was my very first shipment. So I dropped it off at UPS on November 17th. Thanksgiving Day was November 24th, I believe. So 17th to the 24th, that was the delay. Thanksgiving in the middle of dinner. I wish Trista was here. She could tell her side. You can imagine how pissed she was when we're at Thanksgiving dinner with her family. Everyone is around and I'm sitting here doing this. I'm refreshing my app because I saw my boxes check in. I'm refreshing my app. And sure enough, I saw a sale for $7.49 come in. Now, back then, the fees were not as bad. So I actually made like $3 or $4 profit on $7.49. But that was my first sale. And I'll never forget swiping there for like 10 minutes after I saw my email come in for that box. I'm swiping and that sale came in and I'm like, and of course, like I take my phone under the table and show Tristan, I'm like, babe, I just made my first sale. And this is before she understood the reselling world. She's like, put your phone away. Like that was her response. I was losing my mind for the rest of the day. It was amazing. Like you never forget that first sale. And then I ended up finding out that was a really good product. So I ended up selling probably about 100 or 150 of those because I sent in probably 5. The 5 sold within a couple days, and then I sent in 20, and then I found out you can order online in bulk. And so I bought another, I don't even know, it was like 60 or 80 units or something like that, sent those in and they all sold. And then everyone discovered it and the price came down and tanked. But that was, you never forget that. That was great. Has anyone had success selling baseball cards on eBay? I bought 7,000 cards for $25. I'm about to list them on eBay. Any advice? I have never sold baseball cards. Reselling with Rob started with baseball cards. Nice. Yeah, I have no idea about anything card related. The only thing I know is Pokemon cards. I've flipped Pokemon cards. Kristen, yes. Can you and Trista please make an informational video on eBay's international shipping program? Yes. We are working on something right now. I'm not going to give too much away, but we are working on something right now. If you are brand new to eBay, like you might have an account, but not really done much with it, or sold a thing or two, but still not sure what to do. Or if you've never sold on eBay and don't even have an account, we're putting something together that Tristan and I are recording, and it's going to lay every detail out for you. So we are creating something right now. It's going to cover all of that. All the shipping questions that you have, they're all going to be detailed, everything broken down step by step. It's going to be really solid. Yeah, I love what Rob said here. He said electronics is a very good, if not the best category to get in. There are risks, but many more rewards. I did a post yesterday about our new account. I'm just going to pull this up on my phone so I have the actual numbers. So on that electronics account, we started with $100, and that was 8 weeks ago. We sold 89 units. Our total cost was $2,023. Our total net profit after everything, fees and shipping, refunds, at the end of the day, we have a net profit of $3,039. There's $688 in refunds on 8 items. So a little bit higher ticket items for some of those. And I had one person, even after showing that we made $3,000 profit from $100, I still had that one person that was like, oh, those refunds though. Like, you're going to focus on the $688 refunds when I just showed we made $3,000 profit. And that shows you how some people's minds like gravitate towards negativity. That's like a different conversation. But point being, you will get refunds. And especially if you're doing electronics, you're probably going to sell higher ticket stuff that sells for $100, $200, $300. So you've got to be mentally ready for those types of returns. It's just part of the ball game. But like Rob said, with those types of risks come bigger rewards, because I love electronics. Like, it's becoming my category that I just want to focus on. I'm going to do toys and grocery items. Grocery items I'm going to do year round because they're just great on Amazon. Toys I'm going to focus on in Q4 on Amazon. But overall, like, my category is becoming electronics because you have a higher risk, but that reward makes up for it so much. I have to flip so many fewer. I don't know, how's the right way to freaking phrase that? I have to flip not as many items to make a way greater profit than if I'm selling little like $15 and $20 items to make a few bucks, right? That's the biggest difference between something like used clothing and electronics. Clothing is a volume game. You've got to sell hundreds of pieces to make a decent income every week or every month, versus electronics. Like, you sell 5 things, you can make several $100s profit just on a few items. So it is a risk versus reward thing. Some people don't like the risk, and that's fine. That's why we have tons of different categories we can focus on. Is there a way to set up an Amazon sale notification on the app, or does it not have one? If you have merchant filled items, so you're physically shipping directly to the customer, it will show a cha-ching, or it will have a notification sound, which is almost like the eBay cha-ching. I don't think it's cha-ching though. It's like a ping sound. I haven't done merchant filled in a while, but it's a ping sound. So you'll get that notification sound. Unfortunately, with FBA, they do not have any type of notification for it. All right, last few minutes. Drop your questions below. I will get those answered. Awesome, Phil. Welcome into the VIP group, my friend. You probably got the confirmation email that gives you the link to the group, and I'm going to go in there and approve all the new members after the show. Rob said, I'm going to start a YouTube channel and video things as I go. Should be cool to try. I'm going to do my own version of Chaz's 110,000 challenge. That is awesome. 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 I am a huge fan of documenting your journey. I don't care if it's on a public YouTube channel, an Instagram channel, or if you just have a folder on your computer that you're just documenting for your own self. Having photos and videos to look back on and see how far you've come always puts things into perspective. Like when Tristan and I are having really tough months, which we do, we have bad months like everyone else. We have some of these months where it's like we're tight on cash, or we're not making as many sales, or we had extra bills pop up we weren't expecting. That's life. It happens. But when that kind of stuff happens and we're struggling, we're questioning, are we doing enough in our business? Why do we even have this warehouse? Like, should we go back to our garage? It would cut out expenses. Like, we start to question things. Every single time we just have to go back and look at our old YouTube videos when we did work out of our garage and just think, wow, like if we came from there, we don't have much to complain about right now because we're going to continue to grow. It may not be month over month growth, but if you're looking at big picture year after year, we are going to continue to grow and build our little empire that we're building for ourselves. So documenting is awesome. I'm a huge fan of it. Is electronics better for Amazon or eBay? Both. They both sell great. Amazon customers, I will tell you, that will pay a little bit more. There's lots of products. What's the one I'm thinking of specifically? Sony GVS50. Don't quote me on that. I think it was a Sony GVS50. Someone can probably look it up, tell me if I'm right or wrong. It was like an old school Walkman with a video flip out screen. Super cool vintage electronic. I got one of these mint condition for $200. On eBay, they were only selling for like $200 to $300 on average. So it wasn't really worth reselling on eBay. But on Amazon, I sold it for $480. It was awesome. So Amazon customers do pay a pretty penny for that stuff. Amazon, of course, caution, Amazon being Amazon has a lot more strict policies. They're a lot more, I don't even know what the right word is. They're just a lot more strict. So if you do get some type of complaint about your item, the chances of you getting a suspension or some type of claim against you is going to be a lot higher than on eBay. eBay customers, I've learned, it's cool being in both worlds now. Anyone who's followed me for a while, you knew I hated eBay, did not like it at all. So I used to hate eBay, and I finally got into it, started to love it, created the electronics account. Now I'm like all in. So it's cool being in both because I see the customer mentality of both. eBay customers are so much better to work with. I've had a couple issues where something on my part, I've overlooked something. I forgot to put something in the description. It had a big scratch and I forgot to show that in a photo. So I mess up just like everyone else. But those eBay customers, I've never had an issue. Every single time they're like, hey, you sent me the item, but this is wrong with it. And every single time they're completely chill when I apologize and offer a partial refund or a full refund in a return. They've been super chill every time. So I'm loving the eBay customer mentality. Jeez. Sold my OTC stand for $1,500, cost me $4,500. Dang. All right, I missed a question about VCRs up here. Let me see if I can find that. At which point do I recommend getting an LLC? I mean, of course, I technically have to tell you go talk to your CPA. But for me, my personal opinion, and this is just opinion, like I never give out tax advice or anything like that. My personal opinion is when you decide you want it to be a business, that might be from day one for some people. That might be 6 months or a year down the road for others. As long as you're running your business underneath your name and your social security number, you're a sole proprietor. Some people who only want to treat it like a hobby, that's all they do. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, talk to your CPA, see what the best decision is for you. An LLC, if you do it the right way, will completely separate you from that business. So if you ever got sued, something with the business ever got sued, to an extent, there's all kinds of technical crap that goes with it, but you can be a little bit more separated from it. But I tell people, like, the second you decide you want to be an actual business, is when you should talk to your CPA about upgrading to that. And it's not a difficult process. What about reseller? The guy on YouTube, Alpha Investors, made millions buying Magic the Gathering cards and cycle selling them every so many years. Thoughts? I have no idea about any of that. That's part of me being transparent. Like, I'm never going to try to like pretend I know something if I don't. Like, I have no idea about card flipping. I don't know who Alpha Investors is on YouTube, so I'd have to look that up. VCRs without a remote, still worth getting. Any particular brands of VCRs to look out for? All brands sell. Some of them sell for a little bit higher end than other ones, like JVC, Panasonic, Sony. Obviously going to be some of the higher end brands. There's some not off brands, but there's some like smaller brands that still sell. Even your cheap basic VCRs will sell for at least like $40 in some cases. Sometimes a little bit lower, sometimes a little bit higher, but in general, you can usually flip a VCR for about 40. Now, if you factor in, if you paid like $5 for it, sell it for 40, you got to factor in, it's probably for us, our average VCR cost on shipping is somewhere between like 15 and 20, depending where it's going. I live up in Oregon, so my stuff that goes to New York or Florida is way more expensive. So if you're located like middle of the country, that's a sweet spot to be in, no matter where you ship. So if you sell for 40, it's going to be pretty slim margins for the amount of like bubble wrap and all that stuff that goes into it. So you want to stick with your stuff. For me, I try to sell VCRs that have at least a $60 minimum sell price. I prefer to stick with the 80 to 120 range. That's a really sweet spot. The ones without remotes, I can tell you they do sell. I've sold on that small electronics account that we run. I've sold probably 5 VCRs without a remote now, and they sell just fine. Of course, if you have the original remote or instruction manuals or the cables that go with it, you can sell them for a little bit more. I recently just sold one. Jeez, this thing was freaking awesome. You guys will see in the update video I do tomorrow. I bought this thing for $25. I had to buy a remote and cables for it, so my buy cost went up to $35. And this thing ended up selling for $275 for a VCR. It's freaking crazy. It was a JVC H. I don't remember what it was. It'll be in tomorrow's update video. I'm going to show you guys my whole Excel sheet breakdown, all that kind of stuff. The VCRs, man, I love them. So many good ones. But as far as determining which ones, they all have model numbers. Here's the other reason I love electronics. There's no guessing. If you walk into a Goodwill and you start sorting through the clothing items and you hold up, like Trista can walk into a Goodwill from experience, of course, but she can walk into a Goodwill, hold up a black blouse and be like, yep, this will sell for $35. That's a complete guessing game to me because I have no idea what I'm looking for in clothing. Electronics, there's no guessing game. You have a model number, which you can directly look up in eBay sold comps, and it tells you what customers are paying and how often they're selling. So it's just a numbers game at that point. You're looking at how fast can I sell it and what's my margin going to be if I sell it for a certain price. That's why I love electronics. It's a very simple process as far as looking up the comps. So always looking up. Don't buy up VCRs or DVD players or anything, any type of item ever. Don't just buy it because you think it will sell for a certain price. Like go by the data because it's right there in front of you. All right. 1 or 2 more questions and then we are hopping off. I need to grab some food and I think I'm going to clean up. I want to work so bad tonight until like midnight, but because it's only 9 o'clock here. So I really want to work until midnight, but I also want to get up at 6 a.m. and start my day fresh. So I think I'm just going to go home and get a full night of sleep. Again, being self-aware, cannot preach that enough. Yeah, check eBay for remotes. That's where I got mine. You can get remotes so cheap because there's a lot of companies that are making replacement remotes specifically for a certain type of unit, or they're making universal ones that work with it. Yeah, you can find that stuff on eBay pretty cheap. Nice. I sold an empty Pokemon GBA box. GBA's Game Boy Advance. I'm assuming. Empty Pokemon Game Boy Advance box and even empty yellow Nintendo 64 controller box. Yeah, there's money everywhere. You can sell all kinds of stuff. All right, sweet. That is tonight's show. Thank you. You guys are seriously amazing. The fact that I say this every time because I truly hope you guys understand that I understand that time is everyone's most precious asset that they have. So the fact that, especially East Coast, you guys are at midnight right now, and you've been with me for almost 2 hours. We've been streaming right now. The fact that people hang out with me this long, and Trista too, she would tell you the same thing. Like, there's so much gratitude that is coming from us for you guys just being here and being involved, engaging in the chat, just taking your time. Even those who don't comment, because I know we got a couple hundred people that watch these things. I'm sorry, a couple thousand people that watch these videos, and you may not chat, you may not engage in the comments, and that's fine. I know that you're kind of just like listening in, fly in the wall type. We appreciate it. That's all I want to say. So thank you. Really do appreciate it, guys. There's gonna be a lot more content coming out, especially now that we have Wi-Fi back in our office. We actually get to record content again. I'm pumped. It's going to be a lot of good stuff coming out for you guys, and we're going to continue building this little community that we have. So aside from that, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Have an amazing night. We'll catch you tomorrow. You can stay tuned. I'm going to be doing a 10K challenge update video for you guys, and a lot more other stuff coming along. So peace out. Love y'all. I'll see you later.